Hey there. So most of the stories that I share with you, actually all of them so far, have been about Minneapolis and what God's doing here. And this one is mostly about Minneapolis. I wanted to share with you, I went on a conference out of town to Tampa, Florida last weekend, and I had some really great encounters at the airport and with people that I was flying next to. When I arrived at the Minneapolis airport, I actually ran into someone who I was going to the same conference with, and we didn't know we were going to be on each other's flights, so that was kind of fun. But sitting next to them was a woman who was wearing this, bright colored Christian themed hoodie. It had a Bible verse from Matthew, I think, on there. And I asked her about it, and she told me where she got it and that sort of thing. And then I asked her, if she was a Christian, and she said yes. And so we chatted, and she was making a very difficult trip to the airport that day. She has only partial custody of her son, and he's under 18, but she had to see him off to fly on his own down to his father, down to Tampa. And so there's a strained relationship there. And so I got to pray with her, and that was a really cool kind of encounter, just getting onto the airplane. Still here in Minneapolis, so I'm sticking on theme. On the way back, flying into town, I talked to this young couple. They live up in White Bear Lake, I believe, which is one of the suburbs up here. And they had we talked about everything. You get on a flight, and it's a great place to share with people about Jesus, because you just end up talking about everything. They're kind of a captive audience, but it's fun to be nice with each other and chat about your family or your vacation or whatever it is that comes to mind. And with this couple, at the very end, we were talking. They knew I was in ministry. I asked them about their spiritual upbringing, talked mostly with the wife because she was the one sitting next to me, and she shared with me kind of a mix of religions and everything, and I got to share the gospel with her, and so that was really cool. The coolest one, though, was actually on the leg of my flight from Tampa to Chicago, where I had a layover, and I asked the woman next to me where she was from, and she said Skokie, which is a suburb of Chicago. Now, I don't know the Chicago area that well, so I thought she said Skopje, which is the capital of Macedonia. And so I said, "Oh, are you Macedonian then?" And she looked at me sort of shocked, and she said, No, I said Skokie, not Skopje. But how do you know about Macedonia?" And it turns out she actually was half Macedonian. And I knew about that city because of my friend who has been a missionary there for a number of years. And throughout the flight, we got to have just some really great conversation. She had grown up with, sort of the waning years of communist Eastern Europe. And, she even described how people were brainwashed there and they didn't believe in all this stuff. Her husband's Orthodox, and then she has some Islam in other parts of her family, and, other people with other different religious beliefs. And so she just sort of doesn't subscribe to any of it. And I got to share with her my testimony, got to share with her the gospel, and asked at the end if she had read the Bible before. She said no. I said, "Well, I have this extra New Testament. Would you like to have it? Because I always carry an extra with me." And she said, "Sure." She had this big smile on her face, and she told me afterwards that she was really thankful for our conversation. She had had a very difficult goodbye with her daughter and her daughter's family, she was visiting down in Florida. She didn't want to leave. It's the first time she'd seen them since COVID. And this really helped her get out of the dumps, Um, and I know she was being sincere with this because I sort of oversaw her texting a friend of hers in town about it. So I know she was actually telling the truth and not just saying something nice to me. But anyway, take advantage if you're like me and you like to kind of chat with your neighbor on an airplane flight. It's such a great opportunity, and it's like one more little way that I get to witness to the people here in the Twin Cities that I might not otherwise see right in the heart of the city doing a food distribution or walking along Lake Street. So stay tuned. You'll hear more of those stories in upcoming videos. Thanks for praying for these people too. They really need it, and thanks for praying for me.